Okay guys, here I am going to give some notes regarding landform, because you see the class 11 NCERT here the fundamentals of physical geography इस बुक में जो landform वगैरह दे के रखा है, और landform ही नहीं बाकी जो लेसन है जनरली इसमें समझने में बहुत ही मुश्किल आते हैं। अब तक मैं जितनी भी NCERT पढ़ा हूँ उसके सब चप में ये जो NCERT बुक है 11 क्लास का ये बहुत ही मतलब डीजरे है, अनअरेंज्ड है। तो आई थिंक कि इसीलिए मैंने कुछ नोट्स बना के आप लोगों को देने के लिए कोशिश कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि सबको थोड़ा बेनिफिट मिलता है। इन दिस लेक्चर हियर आई एम गोइंग टू give some notes, some erosional landforms created by glacier, and gradually I'll try to cover all the things if time permits me. And here I will cover some erosional landforms created by glacier. Number 1, Sark or Coris. Number 2, Arite. Number 3, truncated spar. Number 4, hanging valley. Number 5, ribbon lake. Number 6, U-shaped valley. These are some erosional landforms created by glacier. Mind that in this case कभी भी याद करने के लिए कोशिश मत करना ये सब चीज़। हमेशा डायग्राम, हमेशा जो भी डेफिनेशन है वो डेफिनेशन एक बार पढ़ो, एक बार डेफिनेशन सुनो और उसके बाद डायग्राम देखो। डेफिनेशन का जो हर लाइन का जो एवरी वर्ड, उस एवरी वर्ड को सामने जो डायग्राम आएगा उस डायग्राम के साथ सिमिलरिटी कंपेयर करो और उसको कॉन्सेप्ट जो है उसको समझने के लिए कोशिश करो। ठीक है, कोई भी याद मत करना लैंडफॉर्म, हमेशा ये सब चीज़ हमेशा कॉन्सेप्चुअल चीज़ होता है, उसको समझने के लिए कोशिश करो। Before proceed, I will try to give some definition regarding Piedmont Glacier and Continental Glacier. What is Piedmont Glacier? Piedmont Glacier is actually that type of glacier when glacier comes through the steep mountain. When glacier falls down through the steep mountain, view the diagram 1. In diagram C1, have you seen? These are mountain. The red lines are mountain, and throughout the steep or vertical lines, or not vertical, steep or almost vertical lines these are, and throughout these steep lines actually glacier falls down. Okay, where the glacier falls down? Glacier falls down actually at the foot of the steep mountain. Okay, and in this foot of the steep mountain glacier actually converges. And what is the form? In which form glacier converges? In the lobe form. Lobe means similar to round form. Okay, mind this, whenever you write answer you have to use this key term actually. Okay, steep mountain, lobe form. Okay, Piedmont Glacier is that kind of glacier when glacier through the steep mountains falls down at the foot of the mountain, or where glacier falls down when glacier through the steep mountain falls down at the foot of the mountain in low form. These are called Piedmont Glacier. Okay, then see diagram 2. It is continental glacier. In continental glacier what happens? It is not like Piedmont Glacier. Continental glacier actually is that kind of glacier where glacier covers large areas. Okay, in which a continent where a whole continent is covered by glacier, it is called continental glacier. For example, Antarctic, Greenland. These are example of continental glacier. Piedmont Glacier, what happened? Where glacier falls down through the steep valley and converges at the foot of the mountain. It is called Piedmont Glacier. What is the shape of the Piedmont Glacier? Lobe form. And what is continental glacier? Continental glacier is that kind of glacier where glacier covers a very large area, sometimes even to the extent of a continent, like Antarctic, Greenland. These are example of continental glacier. Now see erosional landform by glacier. The first is देखो Sark or Coris. C-I-R-Q-U-E, Sark or Coris. Mind that the key term. Okay, what is Sark or Coris? Mind that always head of the mountain. Head of the mountain, that means it is created in the head of the mountain. The second thing is hollow, H-O-L-L-O-W. Second thing is hollow. And third thing is round shaped. Okay, first thing is it is created or at the head of the mountain. Second thing is it is hollow, and third thing is it is round shaped. Okay, Now, what is shark or coris? When glacier arises from the head of the mountain, after passing through the head of the mountain, slightly what it does at the head of the mountain, actually it erodes the surface. Okay, and when glacier erodes the head of the mountain, or when glacier actually erodes the surface at the head of the mountain, this eroding surface gradually becomes hollow, and it creates and it is created a round form. Okay, and this erosional landform is called shark or coris. Then what is shark or coris? Shark or coris is a erosional landform created by ice at the head of mountain. It is much more hollow and round shaped and bears steep sides. Both the sides are very steep. Sometimes it turns to be shark lake with water here. What happens? It is created at the head of the mountain, and when glacier comes through the head of the mountain, it erodes the surface of the head of the mountain, and this eroding surface gradually becomes round and hollow. And as time passes, what happens? In this hollow area, in this hollow surface, water is generally deposited and water is generally stored. At that moment, what we tell this? At that moment, we call it shark or coris lake. You see in diagram 1, you have seen that actually glacier comes through the mountain head, and at the mountain head it erodes the surface. Okay, and have you seen the shape? It actually creates a hollow and round like structure. Okay, it is in diagram 2, and it is preliminary stage or it is initial stage. Okay, and see the diagram 2. In diagram 2, what you have seen? In diagram 2, actually you have seen that the glacier actually the erosional activities are actually increasing. Okay, and here it becomes a much rounded, and hollowness is also increased. And in the diagram 3, you have seen that it becomes much more hollow and round shaped. Okay, now at this time water is deposited here, and then it is called shark lake or coris lake. Okay. Here in diagram 4, you see the landform is called arete, A-R-E-T-E, arete. Okay, view the diagram 1 and diagram 2. Okay, in diagram 1 you have seen that the green line actually signifies a mountain. Green line is a mountain. Okay, there are two sides of the mountain, side 1 and side 2. The green line represents the mountain, and in both the sides of the mountain, the red line actually signifies a quarry. Shark or quarry. I have already told you what is shark or what is quarry. Shark is the glacier that erodes at the head of the mountain. Shark is the erosional landform created at the head of the mountain. At the head of the mountain, you have seen the shark or quarries. The red line signifies the shark, and shark is created at the both sides of the mountain. Okay, and when thus glacial landforms, or when shark or coris erodes both the sides of the mountain from opposite direction, then what landform is created? The landform created by this process is called arete. What is arete? Here two shark or coris cut a mountain from opposite side, eventually creating a knife edge form called arete. In extreme form, it creates angular horn or pyramidal peak. Now come to diagram 2. Diagram 2 you have seen. In diagram 1, what we have seen, the green line actually represents the mountain, and both the sides of the mountain we have seen shark or coris. What is shark or coris? It is actually created erosional landform created at the head of the mountain, and this shark or coris will now erode the mountain from both sides in opposite direction, and gradually what will happen? It will erode the mountain from both the sides in such a way that the mountain will be projected as an angular form. Okay, and both the sides of the mountain will be resemble to the side of a knife. You see diagram 2. In diagram 1 we have seen that shark or coris are created at the head of the mountain, and it begins to erode the mountain from the both sides. And in diagram 2, what we have seen, that it has eroded the mountain in such a way that the mountain took the form of a took the form of a pyramidal shape. Okay, and both the sides are actually seen, and the top of the mountain is, you see, top of the mountain, you see, it resembles like knife edge ridge. Okay, and it is sometimes called pyramidal peak. Okay, and this form is, you can say, angular horn. The angle which it creates, it's called angular horn. Okay, you see the one process in one diagram. What are the landforms we have seen? One is knife edge ridge, one is pyramidal peak, and one is angular horn, and another is arid lake. When in which in Sark we have seen that as time passes, water is deposited in the hollow and round shape, and when it is called Sark lake. In that way, in here also, in arid also, when water is deposited in this angular hollowness, it is called arid lake. Then another landform. What is the name of the landform? It is truncated spar. Truncated, truncated spar. And what is truncated spar? Truncated spar is a steep ridge of mountain that falls down to valley floor from higher elevation, ending in inverted V form. You see, view the diagram 5. You have seen the mountains, green lines are mountain, and after that what we have seen, the ridge, the steep ridge of the mountain, the red line. Okay, the red lines and red and green actually symbolizes the steep ridge of the mountain, means steep side of the mountains. And when such kind of steep ridge, S-T-E-E-P, steep ridge, R-I-D-Z-E, steep ridge, when such kind of steep ridge falls down, from where they will fall down? From the higher elevation. You see, from the mountain, means from higher to lower, from higher elevation to lower. When such a steep ridge of the mountain from up falls down in two parallel sides from higher elevation to lower valley, then this landform is called truncated spar. Truncated spar is, it is a steep ridge of mountain that falls down to valley floor from higher elevation, ending in inverted wave form. Have you seen the green lines represents mountain, and red and green lines actually represents the steep ridge of the mountain. This steep ridge of the mountain falls down from higher elevation to the valley in parallel sides, and each shape is like inverted V. Okay, it is called truncated spar. Now see what is a hanging valley. In case of hanging valley, always remember the key points. There are two valley. One is main valley and one is tributary valley. Main valley is much eroded and widened in comparison to tributary valley. As a result of this, what happened and why the main valley is much eroded? Because main valley bears much more larger glacier. As a result of this, main valley is much eroded, and day by day actually it becomes a hollow type. Okay, and that is why tributary valley seems that it is hanging on the main valley. See the diagram. In the first phase of the diagram, you see the main valley and tributary valley, and in the second phase of the diagram, you have seen that the main valley is widening and it is eroding much more in comparison to tributary valley. Okay, and in the third phase, what you have seen, the main valley is totally eroded, it becomes U shape, and the hanging valley is less eroded in comparison to the main valley, and it seems that hanging valley is actually tributary valley is hanging on the main valley. You have seen that in the first phase, tributary valley and main valley, and in the second phase you have seen that main valley is eroding much more in comparison to tributary valley, and in the third phase you have seen that main valley is actually totally eroded and it becomes U-shaped valley. Okay, that is why what we have seen, there are two landforms, one is U-shaped valley and one is hanging valley. When the tributary valley erodes when the tributary valley seems hanging on the main valley, Why it seems hanging on the main valley? Because main valley bears much larger ice, and that is why main valley is much widened and eroded in comparison to the tributary valley, and that is why tributary valley seems hanging on the main valley. This after that it is called U-shaped valley. And again see, in the another diagram you have seen that in the U-shaped valley actually, when in which we have seen that when time passes in the hollow, the space, or in the space of the cirque, when water is deposited, it is called cirque lake. When in the landform we have seen that arid, in the arid landform, when water is deposited in the hollow space of the arid, it is called arid lake. In that way, in hanging valley, what happens when main valley is much more eroded and it becomes U-shape, in this space of the U, when water is deposited, it is called ribbon lake. It forms like a ribbon and it is called ribbon lake. Okay, then another there is another feature also when a ribbon lake is created, when there are two spheres of rock, one is hard rock and one is smooth rock. Then what happens is smooth rock is much more eroded in comparison to the hard rock, and that is why in this smooth or soft rock water is deposited as time passes, and in this way also ribbon lake is created. Now another glacial landform, erosional glacial landform created in hanging valley is waterfall. You see that in the diagram you have seen that it becomes main valley is totally eroded and it becomes U-shaped. Okay, and hanging valley or tributary valley seems hanging on the main valley, and you have seen that the tributary valley, the slope of the tributary valley is much more steep, that falls down to the main valley, and throughout this steep sides actually water falls down, glacier falls down, then waterfall is created. So what is hanging valley? There are three key terms: main valley and tributary valley. Main valley is much more eroded, and that is why tributary valley seems hanging on the main valley, and after that main valley becomes U-shaped, and when in this U-shaped water is stored, it is called river.